Hey, Teddy K here for the Best Buy blog, and available at Best Buy right now is the Samsung Galaxy Z Flip5, which not only flips the same way, but folds flatter and offers a bigger cover screen.
Compared to the Galaxy Z Fold 5, the Flip 5 may be the more usable device for obvious reasons, not just because it flips open to look like a standard smartphone, but also because it has a more impactful change from the previous version this time. And that has everything to do with the cover screen. So the cover screen is, at this point, now effectively a second display. It's still limited by the screen real estate that is available on it, it's obviously half a phone, but compared to previous models, this is a massive change. And when you have this kind of a difference happen, you effectively open things up for how useful the device can be, how convenient the device can be. And that's really what I think the cover screen is ultimately supposed to accomplish. Now, there's a couple of caveats to this, right? So the obvious ones are, it's great for taking selfies. There is no question about that. This is one of the easiest phones you'll ever use when it comes to taking selfies, especially because you're using the rear cameras, which are better quality anyway, and simply because you can frame your shot perfectly, right? It's hard, you'll know exactly where you stand, where you should frame, and you can take the photo without even touching the phone, right? So you can either set it up, prop it up, or hold it in front of you, and then just basically either do a gesture for it to take the photo, or you can kind of quickly tap on the screen and it'll take it that way as well. Press the volume button, that'll do it. There's multiple ways where you can actually snap the shot. I like the gesture one primarily because it recognizes the gesture and then you see the timer appear and then it'll snap the photo. I'm starting here with the photo side because it sort of opens the door to everything else, right? So that's the primary app, and it's the one thing you can easily access even without unlocking the phone. So you don't have to unlock the device. You can quickly push up the photo app, the camera app, and take a photo right away. It's great, and it's great also for just taking photos of other things, because like the Fold 5, when you have a hinge and you have a device that flips or folds, you have a lot of different options when it comes to deployment, when it comes to placement. How do you take a photo of something from a different perspective that might be otherwise difficult on a conventional smartphone? And that still applies even with this. So whether you prop it like this or put it like this, there are so many different ways that you can utilize the form factor to take photos that other people are not. I certainly did that myself when I was traveling with this phone, and I've done it before with previous flips as well, and it always turns out that I get a photo that is different from others. Not that I'm trying to do that, it's just that I just like perspectives. I like looking at photos or looking at a scene and then seeing if I can capture it from a different perspective to make it a more interesting shot. The photo quality is going to be okay. It's not going to be at the level, I think, of a phone that costs this much. It just won't. This is closer to mid-range than it is the flagship, without question. The image signal processor is better though, so the quality of the shots will look improved over the Flip 4, I will say that. But I don't know that it's a dramatic difference. I just think that the way the phone renders images is better by far than it was before, but just not in a way where what you're actually seeing as far as the photo is going to look dramatically different. Now, moving on with the rest of the cover screen, I will say that there's some real potential here, but it also really matters how many people buy in. So what I mean by that is, okay, so what you have is the basics. So you have the calendar, you have the weather, you've got Samsung Health in there, and then you have to go to Samsung Labs to open this up. But when you do, you can then allow apps to appear on a grid in one of the widgets as well. The challenge here is that the apps are limited. They have to be optimized for this design. So that's why Google Maps or YouTube will be on there and a couple of Samsung's apps. Now that could change. By the time you see this review, maybe that's changed and other apps have done it. I was not able to make that happen here, no matter what I did with Samsung Labs or what I toggled on. This is something that developers are going to have to optimize their apps for. So it's kind of cool to have YouTube open, on a screen like this. Again, if you're want to look at something quick, especially if it's a multimedia message that you're getting through someone's texted you something, they've sent you something, and you get a multimedia message and you want to quickly see it, you can do that without flipping the phone open. So it's pretty cool. But again, doesn't work with everything. I will say a couple quick things. The hinge is nice. It feels pretty sturdy and pretty smooth as well. And the phone is obviously very, very flat too. When you fold it flat, there's just no gap there anymore, which is always great to see. It brings Samsung right up with competitors who have done the same, and also just makes the phone feel a little more, again, refined. This is something I said in my Galaxy Fold review, and it applies here too. The phone just feels a little more refined, especially because a larger cover screen, a hinge that just feels a little smoother this time around, and also because the phone is just slightly, ever so slightly lighter. All those things come, just sort of combine for a more convenient device to carry around. But none like the Fold 5, the Flip 5 is much easier to carry around simply because the footprint is smaller. So this is one of those devices you can easily slip in a pocket. You can slip in a bag. It can fit in most pockets, whether it's a jacket or anything else, and be perfectly fine. I do recommend, though, that you consider a case for it, though. Mainly because being a bigger cover screen, this means that the phone is more exposed to everything. So for example, you don't want to put this phone in with keys in your pocket. It will scratch the screen. Even with the Gorilla Glass protection, you don't want to take that chance, and it is an expensive repair. So just be mindful of that. If you're looking to put this pretty much anywhere, probably get a case just to make sure that there's at least some protection for the screen. Battery life is marginally better. Nothing really to write home about as far as any major differences. Again, incremental improvements, but I didn't find that the battery lasted that much better. It was okay. You'll get through a full day, but you will probably have to charge this at the end. And again, I think Samsung is probably trying to find ways to optimize and improve battery life, despite the form factor and the challenges that that really brings to the table. But for the most part, again, you'll be fine. You'll get through a full day. Just recognize that if this is something that you think is going to be an Iron Man as far as battery goes, that's not going to happen. So you'll have to reach for the charger probably more often than other phones. Normally, I wouldn't say that you should upgrade from one year to the next. I often say you should wait, skip a year and then go from there. In this case, from the 4 to the 5, you might want to consider it simply because, and it's all the cover screen. So if the cover screen is the main reason to even consider doing anything as far as an upgrade from one flip to the other, if you have the 3 or earlier, I think that this one will feel like a completely different device, even though for the most part it functions or feels the same way. Yes, it's flatter, but other than that, like it folds the same way. It feels the same way. The creases in the screen still, and also it's just, it feels like an incremental change as opposed to an overhaul, except for the cover screen. From the Flip 2, Flip 3, and especially the Flip, this is just going to feel like a completely different device. So if you have something earlier and you're looking to maybe upgrade to something like this, I can see that. I can see the advantage in doing that because the cover screen does offer a lot of convenience. The big question, though, and this is a big one, it's going to loom over to the device, is how many developers jump on board to optimize their apps so that they work on this screen as well. Notifications, all that stuff comes in, but when it comes to actual usability, you want to use Instagram, you want to use some other app, and you want to use it on the cover screen alone. That functionality at the time of this review, at least, is really limited, and it'll be interesting to see what happens as time goes on. And that's my review of the Samsung Galaxy Z Flip 5, available at Best Buy now. You can actually see more about it by clicking the link below, where there's other great products as well. For the Best Buy blog, I'm Teddy K. Thanks for watching.